The following day, I waited until I saw Daniel's car was gone. My heart pounded as I crossed the driveway between our houses. His garage door was old but unlocked. Inside. It smelled faintly of gasoline and damp wood. A single bare bulb flickered overhead. I scanned the shelves until I spotted a battered cardboard box on the workbench with the word "Evidence" scrawled on the side. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. My house, my street, my car. Some taken in daylight, but most at night. And they weren't taken from Daniel's property. They were taken from the bushes near my fence. I flipped through them quickly, my hands shaking more with each one. Then my breath caught. There I was, in my living room, reading by the window. In another photo, I was cooking in the kitchen. These were taken through my windows. My stomach turned. Daniel was right. Someone had been watching me. Near the bottom of the box was a manila folder. Inside was a printed police report from years ago about a man named Mark H. charged with harassment and breaking into a woman's home. The woman's last name matched Daniel's. His sister. Everything clicked. But before I could leave, I heard a sound behind me. The garage door creaked closed. The confrontation. I turned slowly, my breath catching when I saw him, not Daniel. A tall man, wearing a baseball cap low over his face, stood in the dim light. "You shouldn't be in here," he said. His voice cold. My mind raced. "You're Mark." His lips curled into a small, chilling smile. "Daniel's been talking about me, hasn't he? He always was dramatic." I stepped back, clutching the folder to my chest. "You've been watching me." He tilted his head. "Watching? No. Protecting. You don't understand. Daniel isn't who you think he is." My pulse pounded. "He's been trying to protect me from you." Mark chuckled, a sound that made my skin crawl. "That's what he wants you to think. Did he tell you about the restraining order his sister filed? Did he tell you it was against him? He's obsessed with women who remind him of her." The room seemed to tilt. "You're lying." He took a step closer, his eyes locking on mine. "Am I? Why do you think he's always outside your house? Why do you think he leaves you things with no explanation? He's not watching out for you. He's watching you." For a moment, doubt clawed at me. Daniel had been acting strange. He had been showing up unannounced. Mark's single quotes, S voice softened, almost coaxing. "Come with me now, and I'll tell you everything. You'll be safe." Something in my gut screamed no. My fingers tightened around the folder. "Stay away from me," I said, forcing my voice to stay steady. He stepped forward again, but before he could get closer, the garage door behind him slammed open. It was Daniel. The truth. "Get away from her." Daniel's voice was like a whip. Mark turned, smiling faintly. "There you are. I was just telling her the truth." Daniel moved quickly, stepping between us. "Don't listen to him," he said to me. "He's been twisting stories for years." "Or maybe," Mark said slowly, "you've been hiding who you really are." The tension between them was thick, years of unspoken hatred crackling in the air. I looked at Daniel. "Tell me the truth. All of it. Now." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Yes, there was a restraining order. But it wasn't against me. It was against him. He broke into my sister's house, terrified her for months. He's dangerous." Mark laughed, low and cold. Of course he'd say that. But the police never proved it. All they had was her word. And Daniel's. The two men stared each other down. My head spun. Which one was lying? Finally, Daniel stepped toward me, his voice urgent. "You don't have to believe me right now, but you do need to leave. He's not going to stop until he gets what he wants." Mark's eyes darkened. "And neither will you." The twist before I could move, Mark lunged. Daniel shoved me aside. the two of them crashing into the workbench. The box of photographs spilled across the floor as I scrambled back. Something caught my eye. A small, locked metal tin that had been hidden under the photographs. The key was still in it. I grabbed it and opened it without thinking. Inside were more photos, but these were different. They weren't of me. They were of Daniel's sister. And the angles, the way they were taken through windows, they looked exactly like the ones taken of me. My blood ran cold. I looked up at Daniel, still wrestling with Mark, and suddenly, I wasn't sure who I could trust anymore. The realization hit me like a punch. What if both of them were dangerous? The ending hook-eyed back toward the garage door, clutching the tin. My only thought was to get away. From both of them. Where are you going? Daniel's voice broke through the chaos, but I didn't answer. I ran. Out the door, across the driveway. Into my house, locking every bolt I could find. Through the rain-streaked window, I saw them outside, still shouting at each other, their voices muffled. I didn't care who was telling the truth anymore. Because now, I had the evidence. Either way, one of my neighbors was a predator. That night, I sat in the dark, clutching the tin to my chest, waiting for the police to arrive. My mind kept circling one terrifying truth. I moved into this neighborhood thinking I'd found peace. But I'd unknowingly stepped into the middle of a dangerous game, and I wasn't sure if I'd make it out without becoming the next victim. This part would leave your Love and Lies audience stunned, unsure who to trust, and desperate for a follow-up. It's the perfect "you won't believe what happened" ending because it throws everything into question. For days, Daniel's strange behavior kept me on edge. I told myself I was overthinking, that maybe he was just going through something personal. But one evening, everything shifted, and the feeling of shock I experienced still lingers every time I think about it. It was a rainy Thursday night, the kind of night where the streets are empty, and the sound of water against the windows makes the world feel quieter than it is. I was curled up on the couch with a book when I heard it. A knock at the door. Not a friendly quick tap. This was slow, deliberate. 3 distinct knocks. When I opened the door, Daniel was standing there, drenched from head to toe. His hood pushed back, rain dripping from his hair. His eyes darted around before meeting mine. "Can I come in?" he asked. Something in his voice made me step aside without thinking. He moved inside quickly, shutting the door behind him as if he was trying to keep something or someone out. "Daniel, what's going on?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he paced the length of my living room, running his hand through his wet hair. Finally, he stopped and turned to me. "I need you to promise me something," he said. "Promise you what?" I asked cautiously. "That no matter what happens, you won't open your door tonight. Not for anyone. Not even if you think it's me." The words hung in the air, heavy and confusing. My stomach twisted. "Daniel, you're scaring me. Why are you saying this? What's going on?" He hesitated, like he was weighing whether to tell me the truth. Then, almost in a whisper, he said, "Because someone's been watching you." The room seemed to shrink around me. "Watching me? What do you mean? How do you know that?" "I've seen him," Daniel said. "More than once. Standing near your house at night. Following you when you walk to your car. He's careful. But I know what I saw." My pulse pounded in my ears. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "I thought I could handle it," he admitted. "I thought if I stayed close, if I kept an eye on you, I could scare him off. But tonight," his voice trailed off. "Tonight, I saw him closer than ever. He was at your window." I froze. my mind flashing back to his earlier warning about keeping my blinds closed. I wanted to believe him, but part of me still questioned everything. What if he was the one doing these things and trying to shift the blame onto some mysterious stranger? After all, he'd been acting differently for weeks, and I didn't know what was going on in his life. I stepped back, putting a little more distance between us. Daniel, are you sure about this? He caught the hesitation in my voice, his jaw tightening. You think I'm making this up? I don't know what to think, I admitted. You've been different lately. You've been showing up outside my house, leaving things without explaining. That's because I was trying to protect you. His voice rose, frustration breaking through. Do you think I wanted to be involved in this? Do you think? I like losing sleep, standing outside at 2 a.m, just to make sure nothing happens to you. The intensity in his eyes made me shiver. Before I could respond, there was another knock at the door. Louder this time, you both froze. Daniel's face went pale. Don't answer it, he whispered. The knock came again, more forceful. Then a man's voice called out, Hey, it's me. I think you dropped something outside. It wasn't Daniel's voice. My heart slammed against my ribs. Whoever was out there, he knew I was home. Daniel stepped closer to me, his hand gently gripping my arm. Please, he said in a low voice, just trust me this once. Don't open it. We stood there in silence, the only sounds the rain outside, and the faint drip from Daniel's soaked jacket. After what felt like hours, the knocking stopped. I finally pulled away, wrapping my arms around myself. Daniel, I don't know what's happening, but you can't just show up here with cryptic warnings. If there's someone dangerous out there, we need to call the police. I did, he said quietly. But they didn't take me seriously. They think I'm paranoid. I wanted to ask more, but before I could, Daniel reached into his pocket and pulled out something small, a folded piece of paper. He placed it on my coffee table. If anything happens and I'm not here, open this, he said. It will explain everything. The weight of his words sank in. He sounded like a man preparing for something dangerous. I stood there, stunned, watching him leave as quickly as he had come. The door clicked shut behind him, and I was left in the stillness of my living room, staring at the folded paper, my mind racing. I didn't open it right away. Part of me was afraid of what I'd find. But I knew one thing for certain. My neighbor's sudden change in behavior wasn't random, and whatever he knew had just crossed the line from unsettling to terrifying. And that realization left me completely in shock. If we keep following the Love and Lies pacing, Part 3 will reveal the twist, the truth about Daniel, the real stalker, or maybe not, the hidden motive, and the emotional fallout. That's where betrayal, romance, or danger hits full force. When I first moved into my quiet little cul-de-sac, I couldn't have asked for a better neighbor than Daniel. He was polite, but not intrusive, always giving me a warm smile whenever our paths crossed. Sometimes we'd exchange a few friendly words while checking the mail, or he'd offer to help me carry heavy grocery bags if he happened to see me struggling. There was a comfortable rhythm to our interactions, respectful distance paired with a pleasant familiarity. Daniel wasn't the type of neighbor who pried into your business. If anything, he was a bit reserved. But that suited me perfectly. I liked my privacy, and I sensed he did too. Over the months, we established a silent, unspoken understanding. We were neighbors, not friends, but we respected each other's space. That's why his sudden change in behavior was so unsettling. It happened slowly at first, small things that didn't seem important individually. But when I looked back, I realized they were the beginning of something strange. It started one Tuesday evening. I was coming home late from work, exhausted, and craving nothing but a hot shower and my bed. As I pulled into my driveway, I noticed Daniel standing at his window, staring outside. Nothing unusual there, except that he didn't move when our eyes met. He just kept looking at me. No smile, no wave, just staring. I gave him a polite nod, but his expression didn't change. Something about the way he was watching me made my skin prickle, though I brushed it off. Maybe he was lost in thought. The next morning, I caught him in the hallway between our houses. We shared a side path that led to the back gardens. Normally, he'd just say, "Morning," and be on his way. But this time he stopped me. His voice was calm but carried a strange intensity. "You should keep your blinds closed at night," he said. I frowned, caught off guard. Okay. Why? He gave a vague shrug, glancing toward my living room window. Just, you never know who's watching. It wasn't the kind of thing neighbors usually say casually over the morning air. His words sat in my mind all day. Was he warning me about something? Had he seen someone near my house? Or was he talking about himself? From then on, his behavior became more erratic. Some days he avoided me entirely, quickly turning away if we crossed paths. Other days he was overly friendly, going out of his way to start conversations. But these conversations were different. Instead of the casual small talk we used to share, he'd ask personal questions. Do you live alone? What time? Do you usually get home? Do you ever feel unsafe here? I didn't know how to answer without sounding rude, but the shift was undeniable. He was no longer just a polite neighbor. He was something else. One Friday evening, I noticed his car hadn't moved all day, which was unusual for him. As I stepped out to take the trash to the curb, I heard a soft knock behind me. It was Daniel, but instead of the easy smile I used to see, his eyes darted toward the street, then back to me. "You shouldn't be out here alone at night," he said in a low voice. "It's not safe." I glanced around. Our street was well lit and completely still. "Daniel, is something going on? Did something happen?" I asked. He hesitated, opening his mouth as if to say something, but then shook his head. "Just be careful," he murmured, before heading back inside without another word. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every little sound outside had me on edge. Was he warning me because he cared? Or because he knew something I didn't? Or, and I hated even thinking this, because he was the one I should be worried about? Over the next week, his sudden changes became even more noticeable. I'd hear footsteps outside my door late at night, and when I looked through the peephole, I'd sometimes catch a glimpse of him walking away. One afternoon, I came home to find a small package on my porch. No note, no name. Inside was a flashlight and a single post-it with the words, "Keep this close," scrawled in messy handwriting. My stomach turned. It wasn't signed, but I knew it was from him. The Daniel I knew, or thought I knew, wouldn't have done things like this. He wouldn't have stood outside my window at night. He wouldn't have started avoiding casual conversation only to swing into this strange, almost protective yet invasive behavior that was like he'd flipped into a completely different person overnight. And the worst part? I couldn't decide if his change was a warning of danger outside my home, or the danger was him. In a Love and Lies style video. This part would end here, leaving viewers hooked, suspicious, and eager to know whether the neighbor's shift comes from secret affection, hidden guilt, or something far darker.